self-repeat. When words get reckless, the courts get busy. And the truth always shows up right on time.
Hey everyone. Hey y'all. How's it going? We're back. We're back. 24 hours later, y'all. That's whenever you know something's going on in this case, if you see me more than once a week, right? How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? First of all, please hit that thumbs up. Like this live, y'all. Also, if you're in chat, change it to live chat or all chat. Instead of top chat. That'll help be able to see all the comments that are made. So, hey, everybody, if I don't address you, it's just because I'm not able to see sometimes the chat all the way. But hey, Laura. Hey, Skynet. J. Marie. Hey, Helen. You're cooking dinner but listening. Hey, C. Hey, Heidi. Sherry. Hey, Leanne. Leanne, she says she is here. She's off and on but listening. That's good. I think I might have a couple questions for you. After I looked at everything yesterday, as soon as we got off, it was like maybe an hour later, the memorandum finally showed. And so I started to read it and my brain was just like foggy, but it did answer a few more things for me. This is just my opinion and we'll go over it. My opinion is she has no argument, y'all. I see like one legit thing and we'll go over all of it. It's basically the same thing we talked about yesterday. I might have said a couple things incorrectly or maybe just not fully until I went back and looked at the anti-SLAPP law in Minnesota a little bit more closely. So I might have said something like that wasn't 100% accurate, but it's no big deal. It's nothing that's going to change any scope of anything. It was just about one of these questions that Katie had. But anyways, hey, Mama Celeste, you got a membership? Yeah, we had Skynet, I believe, gave some out yesterday. I'm able to give some from the channel, so I did that as well. So welcome to our little, I guess you're a Mutton's cousin now, Mama Celeste. Hey, Goose, you made it from the beginning because I gave y'all a heads up, right? Had somebody else go, thanks for telling me you moved it. You said you were going live at 2. Sorry. So hopefully everybody can be here and chat today. If not, and you're in the bushes listening, I appreciate y'all as well. Hey, Kitten on the keys. Hey, Shoe. Oh, you didn't read it, Leanne. I'm going to pull it up on here too. So if you're skimming it while I'm going through it, and if you have something that you really want to point out, please do. We all value your opinion as an attorney. I know Katie Joy thinks that you're not legit because you don't practice in the U.S., because you are in the U.K. Therefore, you just don't matter, Leanne. I, on the other hand, appreciate your opinions. I appreciate everybody's opinions, but when we are able to have an attorney clarify something, if I'm not able to fully explain it, a lot of times in my brain it makes sense, but I cannot really say it to make it understood, right? My brain doesn't always operate that way. You didn't get your headphones on, your porch birds? You didn't see yesterday, Gravy? You made it on time. Good afternoon, says Tripping Gauntlet. Yesterday, we went over what was filed, and what we were able to see yesterday was Katie Joy's notice of motion. It said that the motion was filed, but when you clicked on the memorandum, it only brought you to Jennifer Moore's, which is Katie Joy's attorney, her affidavit again. So that was filed twice. There was some error. Don't know if it was on Katie's side, the court side, whatever. We were only able to look at certain filings. We went over those, which was Katie Joy's declaration, which was a lot of fun. Jennifer Moore's declaration, which was even more fun. The notice of motion, which was an amended notice of motion, meaning that she decided that she needed to add a few things to pretty much, from what I'm gathering, is just to be able to secure her a place to try to be able to appeal this, right? Because the first notice of motion just basically said, I'm expected this to be completely dismissed due to Minnesota's anti-SLAPP law. And then the amended one that we read yesterday added a few things, all pretty much having to do with, I think, trying to secure a way to be able to appeal this. But it's all going to depend on how the judge rules on this. Okay. And we're going to go over some of that. I'm going to go over this very quickly. Hopefully. I say that, don't I? And then it's always 2 hours later. So just ignore that I just said that. We're just going to get through it. Okay. That's what we'll get through it when we get through it. Hopefully I can summarize it pretty quickly. Pretty much everything that we went over yesterday is what's in here. It's just way more elaborated. And good morning, Mimi. She's stalling, Skynet says. So that is where we're at. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Hold on. Why is that? It's not showing. Is it showing as much as it did yesterday? Hold on. Does that help at all? Are y'all able to see that enough? I mean, I'm just going to kind of just skim through it, so I don't even know if y'all even care to read it. Hey, Aussie boy. Okay, it's better. It's not taking up the whole, it's supposed to be taking up this whole screen. Hold on, let me try this again. Hold on. It's the same, isn't it? Well, this is so weird because it's doing it differently than it did it yesterday. Anyways, I guess it's enough. Let me see something. No, I don't know why. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyways, no big deal. So we're just going to go over this. This is Katie Joy's amended memorandum, which we didn't even see the original memorandum. Remember when I went live before I went on vacation and I was like, okay, she filed a notice and a notice of motion, but there's nothing else filed. So we weren't able to see a memorandum. Leanne, what do you think this is about? Because it wasn't to where maybe it's an error. I don't know. But to me, there was never original memorandum of law in support of her special motion, right? Filed. And now it's saying that there's an amended one. A notice of appearance has been filed. Okay, Skynet, hold on a second. Let me see. Y'all chat amongst yourselves. Let me sign in over here and see if I am missing something. I literally just looked before I went live, but let's see. Let's see, y'all. Okay, so we have something to look at. And let me share this screen with you. Thank you, Unitopia. So, Leanne, 7M has changed the council. So that's something I was told. I said yesterday I knew something, but I wasn't going to say anything until I was 100% sure. And yes, we have live updates as we're on here. Possibly a back way to get in an extension with an oopsie. Ah, thank you, Leanne. So let's backtrack here. Let me remove this. Let's take a look at something else that just, thank you for letting me know that, Skynet, because I probably wouldn't have checked for a while. All right, let me see. Hold on, something's going on. Something is going on with my... I think her health is okay, Laura. I've got to read all this before I say anything. Y'all hang on one second. I've got to exit out of StreamYard and come back. It's doing something weird and I don't want to have any issues while I'm doing this. So hold on one second, y'all. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully you can hear me. All right. So y'all can hear me, I'm guessing. Say yes, say yes. Okay. Yeah, it's new council. Okay. All right, so so yesterday, that's what I was telling you, Goose, in the comments the other day. Okay, hang on, let me get back here. We're going to open these and we're going to look at these together. I have not read these yet. I was notified that Amber Stavig, who is 7M's attorney, was, hey, Frisco Chicken. Hang on one second, y'all, too. I was... all right, so I'm going to pull these up. Sorry, y'all. I was told that she's making a change in career. Okay. So let me just start with opening and sharing what we've got. So the very first thing we see for 8/13, which was yesterday, it's just appearing today, is a substitute of counsel. So let me share that and let's read it together. All right, y'all. This is a doozy. So it says notice of withdrawal and substitution of counsel. So we're just going to read this together. I was aware of this, but I don't know the detail. I mean, I'm not going to say what details I think I know or don't know. I don't think this is okay. So don't panic. That's my whole thing. Don't panic. Okay. I think this makes Katie Joy even more screwed, but I don't know the details yet. So we're going to learn this together. So are y'all ready? Y'all ready? Hey, Millie. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But she might be being held accountable for it, Melly, because that's what we're looking at right now. But we're kind of in the middle of something that just happened right now. These were just dropped. So notice of withdrawal and substitution of counsel. Please take notice that V. John Ella, Zachary L. Hennon, and Hannah J. Cheryl Jansen. I swear, y'all, when it comes to people's names, I'm the worst. So we're going to say V. John Ella, Zachary Hennon, and Hannah Jensen from the law firm Fafinsky, Mark, and Johnson. Oh my gosh, y'all. Have been substituted as attorneys for plaintiffs 7M Inc., Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick in the above title matter in place of Amber J. Stavik from the law firm Stavik Law P. LLC. All future correspondence, pleadings, and notices should be directed to the undersigned counsel, the address listed below. Okay. I was looking up, yeah, let's go, says Mama Celestial. I was looking up firms whenever I was told about this, okay? I was looking up firms to see, like, what are the, which ones would Katie Joy not have a chance against, really, so much, so to speak? And this was one of the ones on my list. Hey, Sally B. So I think this is really bad for Katie Joy. We're at a transition period. Okay, so let's first of all, let me get back on track because it's a doozy, y'all. All right, so now I'm going to pull up the notice of appearance that was filed also on the 13th. Okay, we're going to look at this together. All right. Can y'all see that? Do y'all see where it says notice of appearance of Zachary Hinnon? Okay. So this is just saying, please take notice that Zachary L. Hinnon of Fafinski, Mark, and Johnson. I got to put my glasses on, y'all. Let me make this bigger. Makes his appearance as attorney of record for plaintiff 7M Films, Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick, collectively the plaintiffs. All right. So then we see two more notice of appearance, which is the other two, right? So now, y'all, let me share that screen instead. Now, there are 3 attorneys that are going to be representing 7M, Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick, y'all. Amber was great. Amber had this in the bag. Okay. But if these are attorneys so sorry, somebody sent me a message. If some of these attorneys were to go up against Amber Stavik, would Amber Stavik have a chance up against them? See what I'm saying? This mistrial delayed. I don't think there's going to be a delay. I don't think the judge is going to permit a delay. Obviously, there's going to be some standard delay of being able to catch up. Is this going to be a huge delay? I don't think so. I think when I was reached out to about this, it was Amber Stavik is having a change of career, so she's probably known about this. She probably has him up to speed. I was told that they were hiring a new firm. Again, where I get my information, I don't know if it's 100% accurate, so I was waiting to see before I said anything. Right? Yep. Oh, so he is one of the super lawyers. That's exactly what I was just about to look up and see. I thought it was. Y'all, there are 2. Okay, so Melly just says he's a top lawyer here in Eden Prairie. He was featured in Super Lawyers magazine. There are 2 rated super lawyers in that area that would, in Minnesota, I don't think it's all of Minnesota, but at least let's say Minneapolis area, right? And surrounding. When I looked it up, I was curious. I was like, what super lawyer would specialize in defamation? And there was one of them. Y'all, he hired the best of the fucking best. He didn't just, oh my God, this is what I was hoping for. This was where I was like, okay, people don't panic. But then again, I was like, well, I don't know who they're going to hire. That I wasn't privy to. Okay. I was just privy to the fact that Amber Stavik is making a career change. And I don't know if Katie Joy is even going to talk about this, because if she doesn't talk about this, then that says a lot to us, right? KJ is doomed. I agree, Skynet. Holy shit. If y'all could see the smile on my face, if I didn't look like such shit, I'd probably show y'all. But yes, this is a satisfying point, Shu. So when I was told she's making a change of career, it's none of my business. It's none of our business what Amber Stavig is going to be up to these days. None of our business. Doesn't matter what narrative Katie Joy wants to put out there. It doesn't matter. From what I'm gathering, Amber is in good health from what I've seen. So, but I can't say that for sure. I don't speak to Amber Stavig. I'm just saying what I'm seeing. Hopefully it is a change of career that's going to make her very happy. Not only that, Robert Shittendow is one of the top rated fucking attorneys to go against Katie Joy's clown team. I never look like shit, Donna. Well, I appreciate you, Donna. You're sweet. He's young. Yeah, I remember reading I read his whole shit. I read all about this man, hoping that was the one they were going to hire. No wonder why Katie Joy did a post yesterday that was really fucking it was about the Duggars, Joseph and Kendra or whatnot. And it was just a really, of course, Katie Joy just does ugly shit, right? But it was just really, hang on, y'all. I don't want y'all to hear my moving around. Hang on one second. It was just one of those moments where I'm like, oh, Katie Joy's pissed off about something. And I even said to somebody, I wonder if it's because they hired the super lawyer. So that's bad news for Katie Joy. Let's do this real quick. Zachary Hennon. Make sure it's the same one that it's been about a week before I looked him up. So let me double check and see if this is the one I was thinking of. Nonetheless, okay, I don't think he's the one I was thinking of. Might be one of the ones in the firm that he's in. I'll look into this more in a little bit. Do y'all want to see his bio? There's 3 notice of appearances. There's 3 notices of appearance. So the first notice that I pulled up that we were looking at is Zachary Hennon. Let's look at his bio, shall we? All right. Let me know if y'all can see this. Well, there's 3. I'm just pulling up the first notice of appearance. This might not be the one I was thinking of. I think it's one of the other. I think it's the other guy that I was thinking of. But so Zach's bio. All right. Zach Hennon is an attorney in our litigation practice group. Okay. So now they have very strong litigators. Zach focuses on commercial and business litigation. He represents individuals, entrepreneurs, and business entities in disputes arising in and around the areas of real estate, employment, construction, and shareholder rights. He also works on a range of appellate matters. Zach's client-centered approach to practice pushes him to go the extra mile in pursuing the best possible resolution to every dispute. He, University of Minnesota Law School and University of Colorado. Summa cum laude. Y'all, Katie, you're fun. Okay, so that's him. All right. Let's see. Our firm professionals. Who else did it say? Y'all, I'm not even looking at chat. So if y'all are asking me any questions, let me go back to chat. Skynet, thank you so much. Skynet sent 1 Southern Mutton membership and Shoo received that. And she says, thank you. John. Okay, thank you. Let's see. This guy right here. This feller. Old John. John's bio, y'all. All right. This is him. Let's take a good look at who's gonna whoop your ass, Katie Joy. He looks smart. He got that smart look about him. Hang on. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Right, Frisco Chicken? He looks like young. I wonder what grade he's in. I mean, these are those moments where it makes me just feel old, like, oh, damn, that could be my son. I'm so proud of him. Clark Kent. Yeah, so, all right. All right, I'll be looking more into this. I don't know. Hold on, let me look at my phone real quick. If, let me see if this is one of the ones I was hoping for. It was I looked in Minneapolis. Let's see. And then I specifically looked at defamation, I think. So let me look at that and see if this is in here. Y'all, holy shit. It's him. This is the guy I was hoping and praying for. Y'all, this makes me way too happy. And for all you weirdos that are in my comments going, why do you do this? Why are you so obsessed with Katie Joy? This is why, because we're all about to watch her get her ass smeared by one of the top attorneys in Minnesota, if not the top in Minneapolis that has experience in defamation. Okay. So for all of you that want to make these comments to me, go right ahead. Why don't you go over to Katie Joy's and make comments? Because she's probably crying right now, because if I were her, I would be scared fucking shitless. And you know, whenever I get all excited, I cuss. So little ears, they're around. I'm sorry. She deserves it. That's why I said shoe. I always felt this case was more. Thank you so much, Heidi, for sending a gift. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Look at that. I only get to see it in its little thing. If I missed you sending a gift, I appreciate. I see that Laura sent me a gift as well, it looks like. So thank you guys. And Skynet, you know, I always appreciate you as well. But that was a cute clapping seal. So thank you for clapping. Oh, and we got another one. Thank you so much, Melly. Y'all. This is the guy right here. This is the guy. This is, I thought, okay, yeah, Shirley. See, this is the thing. I surely thought, yeah, they're going to hire a really good firm. Okay. Surely they are, right? It was of high hopes of mine that this would be the guy that they would hire. And they did. It's a happy day. Woo, woo. Y'all, I should not be this excited over something like this, but I am, because, and for these assholes that want to go, are you in the cult? Are you part of the quote unquote organization? Why do you support Robert Shin? What, you know, do you work for him? Let me say something, and all of you that are in my chat can vouch for this. When have I ever said I support Robert Shin? In the sense that Robert Shin has done nothing wrong. Robert Shin only needs to go down because I hate Katie Joy. I have never said anything about a stance that I take with Robert Shin, because there are a lot of factors behind it. And I'm letting the facts present itself in his case. He's a grown man. He's a very wealthy man, clearly. Look who he's just hiring. I don't even want to know what he's spending in LA and what he's now been forced to pay for his federal investigation. And those of you that want to say forced to pay, he did it himself. Maybe so, maybe not. We're going to find out. That's my stance. My issue is, thank you, Laura, never is the answer. Goose says never. And Gravy Summer says, oh, happy day, right? So was it 3 years ago she said it would go away? Melly, it was 3 years ago. It was 2 years ago. It was 1 year ago. This is going away. So I'm here for Miranda and James, mostly. I'm here for the truth. Robert Shin he has his experiences in the courtroom. He has his experiences with law firms, okay? He has the money. Katie Joy fucked up in the very beginning when she said that Robert Shin did not have the money to sue her. Remember when she said she had enough money to buy 2 Bentleys because she was talking shit about his Bentley? Where's that money now, bitch? Where's that money now? This fella right here is about to line his pockets with it. Granted, it is Shin's money right now, but nonetheless, your shitty law firm, you're screwed, Katie. This is just my opinion, y'all. This is just my opinion. Yes, I'm overly excited. You can come in my comments and you can yap at me. If y'all love me, you'll go in my comments and you'll say all kinds of shit to drown out those assholes that want to come in and say I'm weird. I don't care. Call me weird. I'm not on here every day ruining people's lives like Katie Joy. I'm not on here every day talking about other people's children. I've never brought up her child, and I never will, because that's me. I'm not like Katie Joy. Katie Joy did all this to herself with her mouth, and it's her fault. This trial, when it's all said and done, will be the end of KJ. I think it's going to be an end to a certain part of Katie Joy, and then she'll, people like Katie, they'll never stop. Leopard doesn't change her spots. She's always going to be who she is. Will she be able to do it as much? No. I mean, she's going to have to be very cautious after this. She's never been held accountable for all the situations she's been put in, and this is the direct result of that. And if, for the people in this chat that have been targeted by Katie Joy themselves, the feeling. And I know that Leanne, who's in here, who we value her opinions a lot, and I can't wait to see what she has to say about this shit. Katie Joy went after her. And Leanne is a wonderful source of information. She's knowledgeable. She's fair. She's respectful to the people that she talks about, and that she's capable of just looking at it from the standpoint of the law. But then also will make it known separately. And this is what a good creator, influencer, YouTuber, whatever you want to call them, that is also an attorney, that is what a good attorney would do in that situation. No, she did end up getting a BMW. I think she got an X7 or something stupid. Not like I can say that. I used to drive them too. So thank you for the gift. I just saw a gift come through. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Okay, let's take this guy off the screen, shall we? Do y'all want to look at the third one? Who is the third one? Hold on, let me see. Let me go back. Oh, wait, I've already got it pulled up. Hold on. Substitute of counsel. So let's look up Hannah Jansen. Let's look up Hannah Jansen, y'all. Am I still sharing that screen? Yeah. Let's just look up old Hannah. I bet you she's prettier than Katie Joy, and I bet you that's going to piss her off. Let's see. Hannah, what do you look like? Let's find Hannah. Hannah, oh, Hannah. Boy, they got some pretty attorneys, don't they? Look how gorgeous these women are. Christina, Lindsay, Patricia. I would not want to go against that. She's a paralegal. And look at how she looks tough. There she is. Hannah. She's also University of Minnesota Law. And she has her BA in political science and Spanish. Oh, maybe her and Katie Joy can speak Spanish together. And I'm assuming Katie Joy won't even understand what the fuck she's trying to say to her. Oh my God, y'all, this is something else. Thank you so much again, Zuna, for the jewels you're sending. I'm seeing notification of it, but I'm not seeing them on my screen. Leanne says, I'm excited about this new law firm. I don't understand why KJ has a family law attorney for a defamation case. So, you know, another thing I noticed too, Leanne, let me go back to sharing that screen. Let me make sure I'm still signed in. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, wait, never mind. I just jumped ahead of myself. I was like, oh, thought false alarm, y'all. Nothing. It's just my brain misfiring. Thought I saw another filing, but I didn't. Here, let me share the screen again. Hold on. It does not keep you logged in on this website long at all. Like at all. I'm always having to re-sign in. Okay, I want to share this part right here. Okay. So one thing I was looking at, what I noticed is these filings that just happened. Hannah looks so sweet, doesn't she, Miranda? That's gonna piss her off. Yeah, maybe she should go back to university to actually qualify as a journalist. Then she'll learn how to behave. This sure is an expensive way she could have gotten a law degree for cheaper than what she's paid defending herself in this. She could have gotten a law in journalism to where she could have learned the ethics cheaper than what she's paid for this. And that's what I was about to say, Goose. Because Leanne asked why she has a family law attorney. And what I noticed yesterday is if you look here on the 811 filing where it says the notice of motion, it's filed under Graham Martin, where everything else has always been filed under Jennifer Moore. Even though Jennifer Moore is the one that signed this notice of motion and motion. Nonetheless, I was curious as to why Graham Martin is making an appearance. But Graham Martin is a partner in the firm, and he's represented her, I think, for all of her legal stuff, like with the Tati stuff and with Todd Chrisley, and every time else she gets a cease and desist and all the things, right? Why? So he was on. Then it went to an attorney, Kristen, and then we only saw Kristen around for a little bit, and then Jennifer Moore came on. So I guess they're going through attorneys that are willing or not willing to actually represent her. I don't know. That's true. You don't need qualifications to be a journalist, and a journalism degree won't fix her character, her shit character. It's true. That's the thing. We said this yesterday. She can call herself a journalist. It's sad, and it's something that the law, I hope, will catch up with, because there are people that put a lot of time into their education, into all of their qualifications, certifications, everything that they need, right? And they go out and they do it correctly. And I think it's an insult to them. Yeah, he's her lead attorney, but there's very little on this case. Originally, he was filing all of the stuff. So even in this case, like if you look at the very first filings, like her first motion to dismiss, the motion to compel, all those things, he was the one that was on it. It was all under him. And then she was served in April. She didn't file her answer until October. And he gave some bullshit story about his. Anyways, I'm not even going to get into that. Y'all want to talk about it in chat, you can. But he was on it originally. Then Kristen was on it for just a little bit. And now we've seen Jennifer Moore. And yeah, she's in family law. They did change her I guess status, whatever you want to call it, on their website to a litigation specialist, something like that. Hey, T King. It's whoever drew the shortest straw, right? I hate peas. Good to see you, by the way. Yeah, I think maybe Skynet. I'm hoping that eventually the courts kind of catch up with that kind of thing, right? So, okay. All right, let me so that's the news of the week. That 7M has announced that there's change counsel, and there's a firm that have 3 attorneys. It looks like there's an associate attorney, a younger attorney that we're trying to figure out what grade he's in. I bet you he's a badass. He looks very kind. And then we've got a badass, like a super badass attorney that is going to spearhead it all. Y'all, this is funny as hell. Which one of those attorneys became one of her besties? I remember she used to post a bunch of, there's times when she was live way back and she said that her attorney was one of her moderators. I think she was referring to Graham at the time. I could be wrong. But that's one that she always spoke about back then. And then apparently Jennifer Moore was in her chats on TikTok. Something like that. I can't speak details on that. It's just what somebody told me. So that's hearsay. Don't take it as truth. So I need another live stream to go over the memorandum. Go do a drunken live. See, listen, so one of the reasons why someone reached out to me was they were like, look, whatever, if Katie comes out with this and she says whatever narrative she wants to give, regarding, I like to put that up there because then I can tell if y'all can't hear me. What was I saying? I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh, the narrative, if Katie Joy does talk about this and she puts out a narrative as to why Amber Stabig is no longer on the case, that it's because she is just changing careers, a different career path. Now that could mean maybe she's going to practice a different area of law. Maybe she's going to become a farmer. Maybe she's going to become a veterinarian. I don't know. None of my business. I just wish her well. I know, Skynet. The most I have right now for that, we watch this one every time. This is the closest I have for that.
It has not been filed in court. If you are a YouTuber and you are talking about this case, you did not get it from me. You got it from the cult.
I'm looking to see if I have that other one on here. I don't. I had it on here at one point and then I took it down. And look, y'all, we have to remember too, if Katie Joy loses this in the end, and we're going to go over what her argument is. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. 7M has changed counsel. Amber Stabig is no longer on the case. We're going to see, and I already forgot their names. John Ella. He's ranked as super. He has been voted super lawyer. That's huge. And even if it's not, I'm going to say it is. Fuck it, right? This is huge for 7M. It's bad for Katie Joy. People like Katie Joy make lawyers want to quit. She's insufferable. I wonder how much of it where Amber Stabig is like, fuck that. I don't want any more of this. I want no more. I never want to ever have to go, deal with someone like Katie Joy ever again. Yeah, maybe Amber is joining the FBI so she can bring up charges against Katie Joy. Hey, You know what? She runs with all kinds of theories and nonsense. Yeah, best of luck to Amber. All right. Back to the boring shit, y'all. I'm just going to summarize this real quick. You know what I need to do real quick too? I need to see if I can get into my Dropbox real quick, because if so, we can also start going over some of the statements that we still need to go through. Let me see if I can find this, because if I have it, then we can I'll let y'all choose what you want to do. I have it. Where did it go? Hold on. Sorry for the dead air, y'all. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't want to tell y'all I can do something and then I'm trying to make sure I can pull it up. Because what we can do, hey, Skynet, thank you again. Skynet sent another membership. Phoenix Warrior of God received that membership. Thank you, Skynet. And while I'm goofing off over here trying to figure something out, hold on.
Thank you for the love and the money. While we keep covering this dummy, it keeps this little channel growing, so we can keep this crazy going. From the bottom of our hearts, we love you so dang much.
Thank you, Skynet, and for all of you that have sent gifts along the way. I have not been paying attention to chat as much as I typically would. Okay, here's what we can do. We can go through this filing very quickly. I can give you the summary. I can clear up anything that I might have said yesterday that didn't make sense. Try to make it more clear. I know YouTube's Goose, there has to be something with your settings. There are people that are getting memberships that aren't even in the chat. Sorry if I'm making noise. Hang on. There are people getting memberships that aren't even in the chat. And you are loyal. You're here every day. You leave comments. It has to do something with your settings. I'm convinced. Okay, so I can go over this very quickly. Okay, it's 40 pages, but it's really only about 20 pages without the exhibits. Do y'all want me to go over it? Just give you like a very quick summary, and then we go back to looking at her statements that are in these 212 statements that she's sitting here basically telling the judge right now that there's no proof of malice, and that y'all, discovery just closed. Did you just hold on a second? What am I seeing here? Oh, thank you so much, Laura, for becoming a Mutton's cousin. Welcome. Thank you. It is BS, Goose. You just totally get screwed every time. Yeah, that's happened to me too, where I've gotten an email and I'm like, I just got a membership. One time I got an email not even knowing this one person was live and said I got a membership. I went into the live and I was like, thank you, by the way. And then I stayed. Okay, because I can go over this very quickly. Basically, it's the same thing that we went over yesterday. Okay. All right, let me go back to the screen. Katie's saying the judge has a constitutional gatekeeping role. And that's where these questions come into play. Remember the ones yesterday that like these certified questions that she wanted for the appellate court. She wanted the judge to send to the appellate court. That kind of has something to do with that. And of course, because they're public figures, ultimately have to prove actual malice by clear and convincing evidence, right? For determination from credibility, determinations and weighing of evidence. Discovery in this case closed on July 24th. Y'all, the discovery just closed on July 24th. That is unreal. And basically she's saying before this case is allowed to go to a jury, right? Because we know that before, after summary judgment, the judge, some of the statements survived summary judgment, some of them were dismissed, right? And so the ones that survived were going to a jury. And Katie's saying before this case is allowed to go to a jury, basically the judge has to decide whether the evidence could actually support a finding of actual malice, right? And we know that the judge has been very fair in doing that till now. But she's saying that, hold on, let me go back here. That since discovery closed on July 24th, plaintiffs have never identified a single document, communication, or admission suggesting that Katie knew any of the statements was false or seriously doubted its truth, leaving nothing for a jury to weigh and nothing, okay, for this court to defer. So what she's saying basically is 7M can't prove it. These new statements fall under okay, now, and then there's a second aspect to it. Now, because the special motion to dismiss has to do with anti-SLAPP, there are some side factors kind of, and that's what she's kind of talking about. So, and she's saying that the evidence does not show actual malice. Didn't she say that Derek's, what's that last word, Leanne? Oh, there's been hella malicious statements, right, Jill B? And we're going to go over those. Oh, did Tripp and Gauntlet need to pop out? All right. See you later, Tripp, and have a great rest of your day. So she's saying that, now that discovery is closed, that she's basically arguing there isn't enough evidence for a jury to consider on actual malice. Because she's saying that 7M hasn't proven anything. Well, let's put it this way. Now these new badass attorneys, since they are now on, that they're the ones, representing them, they're going to respond to this. It's going to be so beautiful, y'all. It's going to be so beautiful. They're going to give the reasons why this is defamation. Pro Charlotte Luke, have you heard? Did you hear? How are you doing, my friend? All right. I'm going to say this for Pro Charlotte Luke. I don't know if you missed yesterday. We went over a few things. We're going over some filings, but the biggest thing is I was told a week ago, and I wasn't really sure if it was true, but it just came out while we went live, that Amber Stavig is no longer representing 7M. That she, oh yes, I'll get into that in a second, Leanne. That she is changing careers. And they hired the absolute best attorney, one of very few super lawyers in that area that specializes in defamation. And there's 3 new attorneys on this case. She's fucked, Pro Charlotte Luke. Pardon my language, y'all. I'm sorry. I hate when I cuss like that. Pro Charlotte Luke, your reminders are sunshine on a rainy day. So, and Leanne, back to that. Yes. She said the Derricks weren't really married. And now they're suing her for the falsity of those statements. So that's one. That's one. Yeah. That's absolutely one of them. Not only did she, I know, right? Pro Charlotte Luke. Not only did she say they weren't married, okay? Then through discovery, they proved that they were married through documentation. Then on the day of the raid, so that was like a year prior. So I think she received that probably a year prior. then on the day of the raid, which was July 25th of 2025, so just a little over a year ago, on the day of the raid, when Katie Joy was like thinking that he was going to be arrested, he was going to be put in prison that night or the next day, whatever, she said all kinds of crazy, wild shit. But part of it was she put out their marriage license. Like she put it out. She posted it. Not only did she post it, she said it was forged, that it wasn't legit, it wasn't real, and it was forged. Hey, Michelle. Oh my gosh, you're late. 7M's attorney is no longer Amber Stavig. She is making a career move. 7M has replaced them with probably the Katie Joy's worst nightmare. So there's that. You missed, yeah, the one thing that you missed, Michelle, is just that Amber Stavig is no longer on the case. Today we just saw substitution of counsel, which, you know, was notification of Amber Stavig withdrawing from this case. And there's 3 notices of appearance for 3 separate attorneys. One of them is a badass. In fact, whenever I was told this about a week ago, and so I didn't know who they were going to hire. And so I was looking up who the worst possible attorney for Katie Joy to have 7M represent them, like the absolute worst option for Katie Joy. And that's who they hired. That's who they hired. So now we're looking at Katie Joy's memorandum that finally was filed yesterday. Finally showed up yesterday again. I don't know. Maybe Jennifer was so fucking scared, y'all, that her fingers were trembling that whenever she was going to try to file this shit, she just filed it all wrong. And I think that that's a good possibility. I would be shaking in my boots. I bet, can we settle? I'm just kidding. All right. All right, back to what I was doing. So like we said yesterday, remember they divided this into 4 categories. Here she labels them as buckets. So there's 4 buckets, right? And I'm just going to read how she put it. The largest consists of 113 statements published after the anti-SLAPP went into effect, which was May 25th of 2024. And so these were never subject to summary judgment analysis and cannot survive dismissal under that statute. Okay, that's what she's saying. So that's 113 statements that she's saying anti-SLAPP should cover. Okay. Then bucket 2 consists of 15 statements that were published between April 8th of 2022, which is the day after she was sued, okay, and January 1st of 2024, which would fall into the category that would not apply to the statute of limitations for defamation in Minnesota, okay? So there's 15 statements that fall in there. I've looked at those 15 statements. I mean, sure, they suck, but are they as bad as the ones that she started to make in May of 2024 after the anti-SLAPP came into play and after the docuseries came out? Not even close. Okay, so there's those 15. And then it says bucket 3 consists of 7 statements published between February 4th of 2024, which would be the deadline of statute of limitations, and May 23rd of 2024, which would be just before the anti-SLAPP came into play. And we're going to talk about those statements in a second and what she's expecting, and it blows my mind. And I'm curious to see what Leanne has to say about that. And then bucket 1 consists of 77 statements first pleaded in the original complaint. Okay. And it's important to see here, 23 have already been dismissed by the court. And she's saying they cannot be revived by repleading. 34 survived summary judgment and require the court to now perform on a complete record the individualized malice analysis the Constitution requires. And the remaining 20 have no identified counterpart in the original complaint and should be treated as time barred unless plaintiffs establish otherwise. Okay. So she's breaking it down saying, first of all, this falls under anti-SLAPP. Okay. They can't prove malice. There's no affidavits. There's no documentation. There's nothing that they're showing to prove this, right? Then she says, so now we've broken down these new 212 statements that are in this new amended complaint that we've started to go over, and we're going to kind of try to go over a couple of them now in a bit. That's exactly what I was just about to say, Leanne. Leanne says, I think her strongest argument, the possible granted part, is that the 23 already dismissed statements cannot be revived. I think the judge will give her that one. The rest of her arguments are weak. That's exactly what I was about to say. And thank you for saying it that way, because again, like I said, sometimes whenever I mumbo jumbo my words and I don't make all that much sense, but I think that's exactly what I was about to say, because that is what she's saying here. These 20. Okay, so there's 23 that have been dismissed, and so they can't be revived, right? Another one I think that they might give her, Leanne, and let me know how you feel about this, where it says right here, the remaining 20 have no identified counterpart in the original complaint and should be treated as time barred. Basically, 7M added 20 more statements, apparently, that happened between, well, let's just say happened before the day she was served. So happened before April 7th of 2022. And Katie Joy is saying they don't belong there. If you didn't have an issue with them back then, whenever you filed the original complaint, why are you adding them now? Those are time barred. And I think she'll get that one too. If there's a hope for anything, I think it's that one. So yeah, I agree with Leanne that strongest argument is probably the ones that were already dismissed, that, you can't, as Katie says, you can't revive those. Is that how she put it? And then these others that you added that were said prior to being sued, you didn't include it in the original. So those shouldn't be included. That's the only argument I see. And Leanne says the relation back doctrine is not adopted in Minnesota, and I don't think the judge will want to extend it. And the judge, and that's what we'll kind of go over next. I'm going to try to go through this very quickly because it's boring as hell, and I'm so excited about that. All this stuff was just dropped. So basically, she breaks it down into those 4 categories, and they're saying basically dismiss the entire Second Amendment complaint with prejudice and award me attorney's fees. And then also saying basically like, okay, well, if you don't see that the anti-SLAPP applies, then they're asking the judge to apply the standards of summary judgment. Okay. All right. And let me see the 3 statements. So defendants request certification of 3 related questions. I'm sorry, not statements, questions. Sorry. Defendants request certification of 3 related questions for immediate appellate review. Okay. And those are the things I'm going to talk about the most. And then we'll move on. And she's basically saying, okay, she didn't act with malice. Statement of facts is, who's Katie Joy, y'all? She is the, she's an independent journalist who's reported under the name of Katie Joy since 2017. How the lawsuit developed, how it all started, right? Here we are. It started back, as we know now. She was sued in April of 2022, but the plaintiffs commenced this action on March 31st, 2022. They sent her a few cease and desists that she ignored. Talking about the summary judgment, we've gone through all this. And then she's saying that the Second Amendment complaint statements fall into 4 groups. We just went over that, these buckets of, and that, and I agree with that, because we said that as soon as this was kind of like going into play, it's like, okay, now this has been going on for so long, right? They could give her that one too, but given discovery was still ongoing until a few weeks ago, the judge may allow it. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you. Okay, so I appreciate the response to that, because that's what I was wondering. What if if it could be applied, why? And that makes perfect sense. Because I keep forgetting that discovery just ended, because really in my mind, it was already closed, even though technically it's not. It was because she still hadn't produced her tax records. She claimed 7M hadn't produced something still. So the technicality of it, okay. So 50-50 on that one. Hey, Ginger Lee. She should be worried. No. Her LLC won't protect her personal assets. And she's already discussed that somewhere along the way, that she basically has no coverage of any sort of any type. And LLC is not going to cover defamation, if it's proven that she defamed them with actual, there's actual malice involved, that what she was stating as fact, she knew was not true. Right. All right. Discovery in this matter closed following the court's June 4, 2026 order, which denied defendants' motion to reopen discovery for additional depositions. Moreover, plaintiffs have never submitted a declaration or affidavit from any plaintiff addressing falsity or actual malice. And she says their only evidentiary submission in support of the Second Amendment complaint is a 4-paragraph affidavit from counsel authenticating the pleading itself. Yeah, well, I have a feeling this new super lawyer that's about to smear your attorney's asses into the pavement, I have a feeling we're going to see something to prove, where they're going to prove actual malice or falsity. Okay, let's just go with that. And she stands by her reporting, y'all. She has reported nothing that she knows to be false and has not acted in reckless disregard of the truth. But didn't we just say, and the one example I'm going to keep going back to, and there are more, is that the whole subject of James and Miranda Derrick's marriage. Question, didn't Katie delay a lot in the beginning, and could that possibly allow the statements made prior to the anti-SLAPP be entered included? I don't think so. There were delays for different reasons. And some of it was on 7M's part. There was a big delay whenever, especially in the initial part of discovery, because 7M was requesting order of protection on discovery, protective order for discovery, because they knew Katie Joy was just going to go blast it. And they didn't file that appropriately or whatnot. Katie Joy kept saying, look, they missed a deadline. We win. Remember that one? She did a squirrel and she's like, I won. They missed a deadline. They didn't provide discovery. My motion to compel, yada, yada. And then 7M's like, no, wait a minute. We've been trying to ask the court about getting a protective order on discovery, right? I need to protect my client here. Needs to be filed an appropriate motion, and then all these motions filed. So there was a long delay for many reasons. The first big delay in discovery was because that ruling on those were ruled upon in February of 2023. So we were already going on a year almost then for there to be, for when there was finally an order of protection, a protective order put on discovery. And then there was all the arguments about it. Hey, Brittany. As of today, it expired. Katie Joy doesn't have an LLC anymore. I've had LLCs in the past, and that can be remedied. It's not, she can renew it even if it expires. That's kind of a small situation. The biggest thing is it's not going to cover it. I don't even, so why have an LLC? You can't just go get an LLC and be like, okay, I'm just going to go defame everybody. Or, I have a construction company and I'm going to get an LLC, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to intentionally do everything against code and standard of OSHA, whatever it may be. And I'm going to just go against everything, and I'm going to cause all this damage, and I'm going to cause harm to people on the site. People are going to get injured. People are going to get unalived, whatever, because of my lack of responsibility, my LLC is not going to cover that. Yeah, Bean. This new attorney, I cannot wait to see what they're going to come in with this. All right, back to this. Her argument. Hold on a second, y'all. I think my husband went out on the boat, which the lake he went to is like an hour away. And so I'm anticipating him probably coming home soon because it's hot as hell. And it's almost 1:00 here. Let me just see if he sent me a message. Hold on, y'all. No? Oh, wait. He's wanting to sign us up for fishing tournaments, y'all. Okay. Sorry. I was going to make sure he's all right because I'm like, wait a minute. I'm anticipating to pull up, and whenever I do, it means the dogs are going to go apeshit crazy, so I'll have to mute, but that's not happening. Hey, Captain D. Katie. Okay, so I haven't really looked at chat. All right, where were we? So, I mean, ultimately, she's telling look, this started with about 85 statements. Now there's 212. Some of those are previously dismissed. I'm saying time bar, too old. Now I've got, the whole anti-SLAPP behind me. The plaintiffs still have no evidence that I've knowingly or recklessly published false information. And, also, let's not forget the fact that they're trying to say, look, this is too confusing for a jury to even be able to handle. So there's that. All right, moving on. What's her argument? So in order for it to fall under anti-SLAPP, 3 segments here. She falls under number 3, which is exercise of the right of freedom of speech, or she's saying she falls under 3, okay, that this would apply. Exercise of the right of freedom of speech or of the press, the right to assemble or petition, Constitution, Minnesota Constitution, on a matter of public concern. Every statement at issue in this action falls within the 3rd category. Speech addresses a matter of public concern when it can fairly be considered as relating to a matter of political, social, or other concern to the community. So the difference here, y'all, my dog's snoring, so I apologize if you hear that. Can y'all hear her snoring? The judge has made previous rulings, like when it came to the summary judgment, and we're gonna. That's one of the key points I want to get to before we stop talking about this. Susie flies. Well, I'm glad you got notified. You did miss some good information. Anybody want to tell her? Goose, you want to tell Susie? KJ says a lot of things. Here's one thing, okay, as I'm looking at this right here, as it's on the screen. Ms. Paulson's reporting on alleged coercive control, financial exploitation, and sexual abuse within a religious organization now under federal criminal investigation for sex trafficking, money laundering, and mail fraud is a matter of public concern. Okay, I'm going to read that again, y'all. Katie Joy's reporting on alleged coercive control, financial exploitation, and sexual abuse within a religious organization now under federal criminal investigation for sex trafficking, money laundering, and mail fraud is a matter of public concern. I have a huge problem with this. Leanne, if you want to weigh in, please do. I have a huge problem with this. In her declaration that she filed a couple days ago, her Exhibit A is a filing from the civil lawsuit in Los Angeles, where his attorney in LA was filing a motion to stay the case, right? And in there, he says, I'm going to read it to you because I got it pulled up on this screen. Okay, I got it pulled up so I can read it to y'all. So again, right here, she's saying that he is under investigation, under federal criminal investigation for sex trafficking, money laundering, and mail fraud. Okay. I'm here to tell you, because I know the case number, because it was given in that case, what his federal case number is. It's sealed. You cannot get in there and see what he's being investigated for. You cannot get in there and see what the search warrants were. All of that is sealed. Okay. What has been said in the LA situation from his attorney dealing with the federal situation and his attorney in his civil situation is telling the court, they were requesting a stay. Okay. And Katie Joy uses an exhibit as Exhibit A. She uses this filing. I went in and I did a search word. I did a word search in her entire affidavit that was filed 2 days ago. And I searched one time in that entire affidavit, and it is her saying that he is being investigated for sex trafficking. When you go down and you look at the actual filing that she put as Exhibit A, all it says is this. And again, this is a filing in the civil court in LA when his attorney there was asking for a stay in the case. As the court is aware, the individual cross defendants remain, that's the cross defendants within the LA case, remain the focus of an active federal criminal investigation, the subject matter of which directly overlaps with cross complainants' claims in this litigation. It says nothing about what he's being investigated for because that is not known. There was another filing that Katie Joy has shown, and when it talks about his federal investigation, everything is redacted. The only time it talks about sex trafficking, money laundering, mail fraud is when it relates back to the civil suit accusing him of those things. And his attorney is merely saying, find it kind of odd that all the things that it seems the FBI is investigating him for have to do with all the accusations that are in this civil complaint. That's the only time it's brought up. Not once, not anywhere can you see a true document that states with 100% specificity that Robert Shin is absolutely being investigated for sex trafficking or money laundering or mail fraud. Those, I don't know. Maybe he is into some white collar crime. I don't know. Okay. But if he was sex trafficking, and that's what and I focus on that one the most because that's one thing that Katie Joy says all the time. Not only that, she is accusing him of doing that to Miranda Derrick, and that pisses me off beyond belief. That's why I focus on this one, okay? It's not because I don't think, oh, well, if he's money laundering, that's fine. Do I think he did it? I don't know. I don't care. Do I think he's sex trafficking? That's the question here. She's putting it in this memorandum, but nowhere does she have proof, as she says here, that now under federal criminal investigation for sex trafficking, money laundering, and mail fraud. Nowhere. Anybody want to weigh in on that? Please and thank you. I'm glad you're able to catch me live too, Captain KD. I'm not really reading chat, y'all, if you can't tell. So if anybody's in here being an ass, so be it. I doubt it. I don't have that many people yet for assers to be in here. I would just like this to be wrapped up with a pretty bow. I hope whatever the outcome that Katie has at least learned a big enough lesson, losing money with all the legal, that she stops her evil ways. Animal lover, that's exactly why I'm here. This is why I cover this, because a lot of people wouldn't even know this is going on. Because she's over there telling people she's won. And when she realized that she wasn't, then she stopped talking about it. So people are none the wiser. You sent Balls a link to a website yesterday that contained a load of false information about his criminal case and that confirmed it was false. Probably KJ's. See, that's the thing, Leanne. So much of this is proven to be Katie Joy's narrative. And it's not just Katie Joy, okay? There are the other bloggers on Instagram that, stop culting and exposing 7M. Colt's yuck settled out, okay? Leanne, have you looked at that other lawsuit? Anyways, that doesn't matter right now, so you don't even have to answer that. Don't even answer that right now. We'll talk. I'll ask you that one in a separate one because it'll get too confusing. But yeah, there is a lot of false information about it. I think people want to see her being held criminally responsible for something, but this is just civil. Could there be something criminal that they could go after her for? I think there's a lot of people that believe there are things, and it could be. Shin, not a settler now. It's a matter of principle. Oh yeah, I said from the very beginning. I've told y'all from the very beginning, and I've also said why I said that, because Suzanne, at the very, very beginning of this, I asked her, is someone like Robert Shin and with his religious stance and who he is, would he settle? And she said, no, absolutely not. It will not happen. We won't let them hijack your channel. Thank you. Katie is a rotten person. She has rotten ways for sure. But this part right here really, really gets me. And Leanne, it gets me because why is she allowed to say this in here when there is absolutely nowhere to be found, especially if you're going to add an exhibit saying, oh, look, he's being criminally investigated. And I just read to you what it says. All it says, as the court is aware, basically, Robert Shin remains the focus of an active federal criminal investigation, the subject matter of which directly overlaps with cross-complainant's claims in this litigation. There's a lot of people that say that lawsuit in LA, one of the reasons why the cross-complainants came on board to say Robert Shin has done this, Robert Shin has done that, Robert Shin XYZ, was to help get an investigation. And that's what Robert's attorneys are saying, basically. He's like, look, y'all, it sure is kind of suspicious that everything that's in this lawsuit, the civil lawsuit in LA, is appearing in this civil situation. Also in that lawsuit are those exposing 7M, Stop Colting, Melanie Lee, and Priscilla Lee. I don't know if those are their true legal names, but it's Melanie and Priscilla, and then the other two bloggers, right? So Katie Joy isn't the only one spreading this narrative. She just has the strongest voice, the biggest platforms, etc. And she wants to talk shit about how Miranda and James are off social media. So is Priscilla, y'all. Okay, there's that. I know, and that's what sucks about it. Saying Fire, that's a good point. She says, due to despising her so much, I find myself mad about her talking about Joe and all the Duggars when I know they are bad. And that's why I have to really reel myself back in on this and go, okay, if Robert Shin is responsible for these things, and I said it 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whenever he was raided 2 years ago, here we are 2 years later, and he has not been arrested for all these things that Katie Joy has put out there as rage baiting, in my opinion. That's exactly why she's being sued. She's not allowed to do this, and she can't hide behind a faux journalistic privilege or slap laws. Thank you, Leanne. Sometimes I'm like, am I not grasping this fully? Am I, is my brain just like hating Katie Joy, just like what we just read this, who was it that said that? That Sadie Fire just said, like, sometimes I'm just like, I hate Katie Joy so much. I'm very good about being able to separate it. I truly am. But there's times it gets a hold of me, and I'm like, am I just wishing too much on this? And could this really go in Katie's favor? In the beginning, I think if Katie would have shut up she certainly, it would have ended somehow, and she would have been in a much better place. She's screwed now, in my opinion. Suzanne Tickemeyer, is that how you say her name? She go by the Crazy Feminist. Oh my God, I can't remember, y'all. That's who she talks about the Duggars, and she's able to give insight on all the stuff that I don't really understand when it comes to religion and all that good stuff. Shows a love low, she'll go. We know Katie Joy is faking her reporting. Okay. Yes. Tickemeyer. Yeah, that's the best way. Thank you. That's the way I couldn't think of the way to put it. A high control religious group and went to be a columnist and YouTuber. Okay. No longer quivering. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. See, I need people like you because okay, I'm short circuiting. Here we go again. She's saying the bucket 1 must be dismissed. Okay, we went over all these. This is just her argument again. We've already explained what her argument is in those, right? Basically for Katie Joy to say there's no evidence and 7M has produced none. I bet she's shaking in her boots now, knowing that what's about to come. So I don't know what the standards are in this court. Okay. I'm assuming, and this is a question I wanted to ask you too, Leanne, if you're still in here. How do you think there's going to be much of a delay with this switch of counsel? Like, I'm assuming they're pretty much coming in being like, Katie Joy is going to go, oh, look, this is just another tactic for them to delay. And they're probably going to be like, no, there's not going to be much of a delay, XYZ. I don't think there's going to be much of a delay. I have a feeling they might have been slowly segueing into this. Maybe not. They might have just come on board yesterday. And so they might need the time, right, to catch up. I don't know how much of a delay it's going to cause. But they're going to have to respond to this because obviously there's a deadline for that. And there's a hearing coming up September 8th. No, that shouldn't delay much at all. I was thinking that. That's what I was thinking. I think that's what Katie's going to try to say that's an argument, I'm guessing. I don't know, though, y'all. Katie hasn't said shit for a while, and I don't think she's going to say anything about this. I could be wrong. She might go and say, oh, yeah, their strategy is to now really put me under because she's probably, I don't know what she's going to try, what narrative she's going to try to spin about Amber Savage leaving. And I guess it doesn't really matter. It's nobody's business. But I was told that before Katie Joy puts out some other narrative, it is because she is making a career change. Yeah, they'll catch up quickly, especially with the 3 of them on there, right? I mean, she's making it sound like, oh, 7M hasn't filed anything to prove this. What the hell are you talking about, Katie Joy? Yes, in relation to this new amended complaint, yes, I get that, right? The judge has already seen so much. The judge, look, we've already been through summary judgment. She did not grant summary judgment. Many of the statements survived summary judgment. They were headed to trial. You were paralegal for 20 years? Yeah, they do get up to speed quickly. I was telling somebody that the other day. I was like, how fast an attorney can read blows my mind. Like, sometimes I have to read it twice. I'm like, what? My I don't know. Just in general, the attorney I worked for, man, I'd give her a document and within 5 minutes she'd be done. I'm like, this will take me all day. Yeah, that's true, Goose. At least what I've been told. Okay. Again, all these statements. Okay, these are her arguments. One of the arguments, y'all, and this is a question that she once asked to the presented to the. I'm trying to find that. Okay. Are these the questions? Basically what she's also saying, she's basically saying that a constitutional gatekeeping questions, actual malice is a constitutional gatekeeping question for the court, not merely a question for a jury. So basically, she's trying to say now that this judge, as her duty of gatekeeping, she wants to question an appellate court if this judge is doing, I don't even know how to word it. Like if she's not, they're not saying that she's not doing her job. Like, let me try to gather my thoughts here. Let me pull it back up. Let me see where it's at. Hang on. And I'm resituating myself, y'all. She's basically saying that gatekeeping in the anti-SLAPP situation differs a bit from the summary judgment situation. Okay. And they just want to make sure that the appellate, that an appellate court is going to say that she's doing her job and doing fair gatekeeping, right? That she's not just saying, yeah, this seems defamatory, send it to a jury. And there's 3 questions that they want presented, and it all has to do with mainly her gatekeeping. And then, hang on a second, y'all. Give me 1 second. I'm going to mute for a second. My dogs are getting very antsy. I know, baby. Can you just lay right there? Barney, she's laying down. Okay, I'm distracted, so I'm going to get back on focus. Let me read chat to help me just get back on focus here. Wildfires. Helen, you're in the UK, right? We used to work around the weekend doing document reviews. Yeah, I know, right, Laura? Oh, so Leanne did as well. Wildfires, huh? Both she and her husband tried to take my channel down years ago. Hilarious, since I don't even produce content, but I had to fight to keep it nonetheless. See, that sucks. I'm watching a lot of these other communities where they're targeting channels and it's all false stuff, and it just sucks. It sucks. Yeah, y'all stay safe, Helen and Leanne. Oh, and Zuna. You're in North England. Helen knows my love and affinity for the UK, which is so weird yesterday whenever I totally said, oh, you're 9 hours ahead, knowing damn good and well you're 6 hours ahead of me. We travel there. I used to go twice a year. I definitely know your time zone. Helen knows how much I miss it over there. A little hard for us to, I don't know when we'll be able to travel back over there again. And it's mainly just because of the state of travel, being an American in some ways. Anyways, okay, back to it. Okay, I just needed, y'all, my brain just needed a break. Okay. My brain needed a break. So at this point, okay, she's saying the judge has a constitutional gatekeeping role, right? We just saw that. She says there's no evidence to show actual malice, that they haven't filed anything. Yeah, well, except one paragraph, I think is what she said. Well, that's going to change, right? Pretty sure it's going to change. I don't know how soon we're going to see it. And then she divided all those into the buckets, as we saw. And really that's it. I mean, so let me start scrolling down. I think we're caught up to that. Her main argument, y'all, is, I don't know where, is just that I know that I just skipped through it. Y'all probably like, oh my God, you're giving me a headache. I'm giving myself a headache, y'all. All right. We're going to get through her argument. Okay. The buckets, right? All these statements that she's saying are either time barred, fall under anti-SLAPP, never were in the original complaint, shouldn't be there now, were in the original complaint, but were originally dismissed, so they shouldn't be there now. Okay. Those types of things. And she's saying that she stands by her reporting. Here she's talking about the 7 statements in bucket 3. None of them appeared in any complaint filed in this action for the second minute. So basically, it's just all about these statements. I'm not even going to bore y'all with that. We talked about it yesterday. Okay. Plaintiffs are public figures who must prove actual malice by clear and convincing evidence. And we know this, y'all, right? We know that Katie Joy is a public figure. Okay, that's not what matters here. What matters is that the others are public figures. And I don't really know. And I think in Minnesota, they don't really focus on like a public figure being somebody that's like famous and very well known worldly or whatever. So I think they call them a limited purpose public figure or something. But nonetheless, because there's a public figure involved, it takes it to a higher standard, as we know. And the main issue with that is they have to prove actual malice. And Katie Joy is saying you have none of that. Okay. You're not proving that. So we have to remember what it is that she's saying they're not proving. Hey, this is a defamation case. I've not acted with malice. You can't prove it. You've done nothing to prove it. You're saying all these statements. So if they don't apply under anti-SLAPP, I'm telling the judge or asking the judge, hey, review it as you would summary judgment. But then in the same breath, she's saying, but I don't think this judge understands her gatekeeping responsibilities. Therefore, we need to, question the appellate court about what your gatekeeping responsibilities are. But y'all, when I went back and was looking at the rulings for the summary judgment and then also for the reconsideration for summary judgment, that judge is so thorough. And she even said specifically for each statement how it applied, didn't apply, why it should survive summary judgment, why it didn't survive summary judgment, like the ones that she dismissed, and that it should be sent to a jury. And Katie Joy is saying, but wait a minute, anti-SLAPP is different. So it's kind of weird to me because in one breath, she's like, okay, anti-SLAPP, blah, blah, your gatekeeping responsibilities. And the second one, it's like, well, then you can, if not, then go ahead and apply like as you do for summary judgment. But then it's like, but I still need to know what your gatekeeping responsibilities are as it applies to anti-SLAPP and actual malice. Ooh, I don't know, Captain KD. My husband and I have talked about that. Going to Canada at some points in the near future. I know that, Helen. I know, and I appreciate that. Teacup girls. See, I'm telling you, there's all kinds of stuff in all different kinds of communities. And that's what people, if you're not in all these other communities watching some of these creators, these YouTubers, whatever it may be, being attacked, but this is just a place kind of like this, right? Where the law has to catch up. The law is going to catch up with defamation. How it's handled in a court. Like some of them, Katie Joy just going, yeah, he's a serial rapist. Stating it as a fact. And then be like, oh no, freedom of speech. Right? No, doesn't fly. So let me see. Let me just kind of keep scrolling. Y'all, this is boring because now I'm bored with this because this is where I left off earlier. I was just going back up to see where I was. I know that this is all over the place, y'all. I know I am all over the place. I know I'm making zero sense. I know I've probably answered zero questions. I know I've probably made 0 points today. We talked about it yesterday. This is her argument, okay? And I don't even know why it's taking me long to even get this point because here she is gatekeeping. She's really got this thing about the gatekeeping and how this needs to be really, really determined by an appellate court. Is this judge doing her job properly when it comes to that? It's not, is this judge really, really, really looking at things very closely, making a determination before just sending it off to a jury? Is she doing what she needs to do? Is she gatekeeping? Is she looking at everything individually? Is she looking at each statement? Is she looking at each claim as it applies? Is she looking at everything and saying, yeah, a reasonable jury could come to the thought that this is defamation. So yes, this is going to survive summary judgment. It's going to go to a jury. They can determine it. Okay. That's her whole argument is that this judge needs to do it properly. But whenever I went back and looked at her rulings again, I'm like, oh, hell, Katie doesn't have an argument here at all. That's my opinion. When I went back this morning and looked back at the rulings from the summary judgment and the reconsideration of summary judgment, I was like, there's no argument here. Because this judge is going to say, that's exactly how I determined everything in my last 2 rulings. She even says it verbatim and in the ruling, in the order itself. Katie doesn't have an argument. I'm just not even going to go through this because what's going to happen is, see, here's the request for certification. She has those 3 questions. Okay, we went over those yesterday. Okay, I'm just going to read them again. Question 1, whether a district court has a constitutional obligation to independently assess whether the evidentiary record is sufficient to support a finding of actual malice by clear and convincing evidence before permitting a public figure's defamation claim to proceed past the special motion stage under framework, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The judge used that framework in her ruling of in the motion to reconsider summary judgment. Okay. I don't think this judge is going to say, yeah, that's a question we need to make sure of. Yeah. Thank you, Captain Katie. Please don't forget to like. Question 2, whether Minnesota's uniform, okay, their anti-SLAPP law that became effective in May of 2024. We've talked a lot about this, and specifically the savings clause set forth applies to a cause of action first asserted in a complaint. Oh, okay, this is the last thing I wanted to talk about. This is what we were going to touch base on earlier. Applies to a cause of action first asserted in a complaint filed before the act's effective date, where the cause of action is later repleted or specified with greater particularity in a complaint amended after the effective date, and if so, whether that inquiry is resolved on a claim by claim or statement by statement basis. So there's a couple things here. One thing Katie Joy seems to be asking, and it blows my mind. Okay. One thing I'm seeing, she's saying, okay, this amended complaint that's now 212 statements has been in play since February, basically, of 2026. Statute of limitations takes you back 2 years, so that would be February 2024. Anti-SLAPP law came into play May of 2024. So Katie Joy, from what I've seen and kind of in relation to this in some ways, she's saying, if I made a statement in January of 2024, okay, prior to the anti-SLAPP, but you don't plead it until February of 2026, and that's after anti-SLAPP came into play, shouldn't that be considered under the anti-SLAPP. She's literally trying to say, okay, I said a statement in January, or maybe let's say I said it in 2023 before anti-SLAPP. But you're not bringing it as a claim until 2026. Therefore, because you're not bringing it up until 2026, even though I said it in 2023, an anti-SLAPP law was not even around in 2023, it should still apply under anti-SLAPP because you're just now bringing this claim. She literally is saying that, y'all. And I'm not joking you. Okay? It's one of the questions. She's like, but shouldn't it be? And I think after these new attorneys laugh about that, they're then going to say, no, dumb shit. You said it in 2023. You said it in January of 2024. You said it the day before the anti-SLAPP was put into play. Therefore, it does not fall under the anti-SLAPP. So I think, basically, and then her third question kind of goes back to the whole gatekeeping thing, and actual malice, and what the judge's gatekeeping role is in that play, right? Like, how much are you going to look at this judge? How much are you even going to consider? Are you even doing it properly? What is your gatekeeping role with anti-SLAPP versus the summary judgment? Am I even making any sense? So there's that. There's our question 3, and that's the end of it. We made it. Took me 2 hours. For the foregoing reasons, Katie Joy respectfully requests that the court dismiss the Second Amendment complaint in its entirety with prejudice and award defendants their costs, disbursements, and reasonable attorney's fees under the Minnesota statute, basically the anti-SLAPP law. In the alternative, defendants request certification of the questions identified in Section 5 for immediate appellate review. All right. Who wants to tell me what they think is going to happen? Let's have some fun here. What's y'all's prediction? Talk about absolute and total projection, right? Okay, so my husband sent a message just now that he's loaded up the boat and heading home. Saw lots of fish, more deer, lots of babies. So I won't expect the dogs to have any freak out for the next 30 minutes. So y'all tell me what you want to do. Okay, so let me recap everything. Let me recap everything real quick. Oh, did I just do a Katie Joy thing where she would sing a sentence? Y'all, take me out of my misery. Let's see. Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't even. Tell me what you think is going to happen. I'm about to pull it back up. The filing from earlier. For those of you that didn't see it. Because we're going to recap. Even though I was all over the place today. Can't wait to hear that insult. And rightfully so. I have to take ownership on the fact that sometimes I am all over the place. But for those of you that stick with me, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You understand. All right. All right, so this is what we saw earlier as a recap. As we were about to go over Katie Joy's memorandum, which she's arguing why this new amended complaint needs to be thrown out fully, okay, because they cannot prove malice everything she said has been truthful, right? And outside of that, it falls under anti-SLAPP anyway. She's allowed to call somebody a serial rapist. She's allowed to say that he's running a sex trafficking ring. She's allowed to say that Miranda is absolutely in danger of that. That, you know, that she is, you know, she's in danger of that. She has every right to say that because it's, you know, free speech. And she's saying that this is a matter of public concern. Sure, Katie Joy, whenever you see an outlet say, hey, we've got word that Robert Shin was raided and he is the subject of this docuseries where he is accused of XYZ, and that it appears that he's under federal investigation for such things, that is expressing to a community public concern, right? That is something of public concern. But to say what you've said is totally different. Do we think a jury's going to see it this way? She's going to lose, and every dime she makes for the rest of her life is going to go to 7M. Okay, that's one. I like that. Oh, you got to deal with 3 babies right now, Shu? She's going to try to get them to settle or offer her some sort of get out of civil jail. Not going to happen. That's what Captain Katie says. And you're right, it's not going to happen. Listen, clearly if 7M was in this game of, yeah, I'll settle, he's not going to go hire the top attorney in that area to kick Katie Joy's ass. She has said it from the beginning. And this is one thing she's right about. He is out to bankrupt her. She even said it in her affidavit that we read yesterday, that this has been a horrible burden on her financially and just her everyday life, right? So I can't wait for it when it goes to the jury and the jury sees where she's mocking Robert by calling him Roberto, by saying she's not afraid of him. She's never going to stop talking about him, where she makes fun of his height whenever she met him and saw him in person at the February 9th hearing. Yeah, I can't wait to hear all that. I know, Helen. Yeah, can you imagine being married to her? Like, I always wonder, like, is she really like this in real life? Like, how could this... You predict in a couple years, KJ declares bankruptcy, says Shu. Yeah, they're not going to settle. I don't think they ever intended to. Yeah, a burden she brought on herself. No, because I can actually sing in tune. I really can't, Helen, but thank you. So, new firm. There were 3 new. Let's just go back and look at them again. All right, let's do this. Where is it? Ah, there. Let's go back and look at the 3 that just did their notice of appearance yesterday with this law firm, Fafinsky, Mark, and Johnson. Okay. Hannah is, I believe, one of their associate attorneys. All right. This bad guy right here, John. V. John Ella. Okay. He's been ranked and nominated as a super lawyer. You can look at his bio here. John has obtained successful verdicts in jury trials and court trials in federal and state district courts in Minnesota and Iowa, and has appeared before the Minnesota Court of Appeals, the Minnesota Supreme Court, the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, and the Federal Circuit Court of Appeals. He has litigated or arbitrated non-compete disputes in Iowa, Florida, Alabama, Minnesota, North Carolina, North Dakota, New York, and Wisconsin. Oh, he's also an author of an executive employment law, a handbook for Minnesota executives, published in 2018. He is also known for having defended dozens of employers regarding claims under the Minnesota Drug and Alcohol Testing and the Workforce Act, in the Workplace Act. He has also written for local and national publications, including the Wall Street Journal, on the topic of municipal and local employment law ordinances. You know, what's interesting here too. Bye, Goose. I'll talk to y'all next week. I'll talk to you next week. I'm about to get off of here. What I find interesting, though, is Katie Joy has made all these assumptions and all these statements about how he's robbing his employees. What is the word I'm looking for? Labor laws, basically. Employment, labor laws. And this guy, and then this guy is known for all that. So that's kind of interesting to me because it's like, what's going to happen with that? Like, was he going to be like, my client is an asshole, but he's being defamed. Does he test for Spanish red? Oh. Y'all. I mean, Amber was great. I think Amber did a fantastic job. I think Amber outlined everything as it should. I mean, and I guess there's a possibility they decided they wanted to fire Amber. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I don't know if that's what Katie Joy is going to try to say. You know, will we ever know? And if so, is it any of our business? Do I care? I just wish Amber well. I know that whenever she was ill, Katie Joy made a mockery of it. So thank you so much, Laura, for sending the Sunday. Why am I missing them? I must, the way that I have my screen positioned on here while I'm reading doesn't let me see it. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the jewels. I appreciate all the gifted memberships, as always. And so this guy right here is going to be spearheading this whole situation. Katie Joy's in big trouble. Let's go back to the other one. This guy right here. He looks so young, y'all. Zach grew up helping his family run their small business, so he understands the challenges businesses, owners, and entrepreneurs face every day. So there's going to be there's going to be some interesting things happening. There's going to be a lot of interesting things happening, and I'm here for it. I know all of you are as well. And I was going to try to get into some of the statements, but I think it's best to just focus on one thing at a time because we know I get all jumbled anyways. This was kind of jumbled, but I think you get the gist of it. What Katie Joy is arguing, I don't think she has an argument. I think there's only two things that she would have an argument on. And honestly, those things were said prior to the docuseries coming out and prior to the raid. And it does not include where Katie Joy says all these really awful things that come later that she's desperately trying to get dismissed. So Captain Katie says he may not be a saint, but he doesn't deserve any of what Joyless has leveled their way. You know, we don't know other than what people in his sphere have said about him. And I've heard mixed stories. I've heard good things. And then we see the stories and we see those things in the lawsuit, like where he has people writing statements stating, no, Shin has never done this to me. Robert has never done this. I've never been a victim of him like this. I've never seen him act like this. I've never seen him do this, whatever. And then you have the ones that are suing him that have their stories. So there are mixed stories. Okay. But my point is, if there is a federal investigation going on, let's allow that to continue and let's allow those things to come out. Katie Joy jumped the gun, said all of these things, thinking because there was a raid, he automatically was going to be indicted. And here we are, a year later after the raid, 2 years after the docuseries was released, and he was raided. He had money seized. He has the new extended date to be indicted or to deal with the civil forfeiture case is October 4th. So there's that. Anyways, I'm going to get off of here. Sorry for all the back and forth, but I think we covered it. I think we got it through. I did not want to read this verbatim. I'm not going to. What's going to be more interesting is going to be the response from 7M and move on from there. Yeah, this new attorney's something. All right, y'all, please hit that thumbs up on y'all's way out. Please come back later, make a comment if you don't mind. If you see anybody telling me that I'm all over the place, you can agree with them. I will agree with them. I appreciate y'all sticking by and listening anyways. Thank you, Leanne. I really appreciate your input, Leanne. And I think it's about to get very interesting, isn't it? And I cannot wait to see what this next, what 7M's response is going to be. And it's going to be so interesting to see the difference in the way they file things and write things and draft things and how we saw it before. I think when I first heard that there was going to be a change of attorney at first, I was like, oh shit. And then I went, oh wait. Then I looked up to be who would be the worst attorney to go for Katie Joy to go up against. And I picked this guy. Not this guy up on the screen, Zach, but John. Y'all. So I think this is bad for Katie Joy. I just do. And I this is just as me stating this by looking at all the facts. I think anybody that looked over the last filings that Katie Joy has filed, looked at the rulings prior to see kind of how thorough this judge has been, to see now who is about to represent 7M, I think anybody in their right mind would say, yeah, this is bad for Katie Joy. So everybody have a wonderful weekend. Leanne, Helen, who was the other one in the UK? Y'all stay safe. Everybody else stay safe. Stay cool. Stay dry. All of the things. I appreciate y'all so, so much. And I will go live next week to go over these statements. Now that we've got all of this kind of together, we'll kind of go over this very, very, very quickly, what Katie Joy is arguing, and we'll get straight into the statements that she has made. And then we will act like jurors and be like, hey, what do we think? What does this prove? What does this look like to us? What does this look like to us? We have that right. We have that right to have our own opinion, and that's what we'll do. So you'll see me live either Monday or Tuesday of next week. We'll go over the statements. Now, if something else is filed before then, of course, we'll cover that. But when there's any downtime, we're going to keep going through these statements. We still have a lot to go through, and they get worse and worse. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. I will catch y'all on the next one. Thanks, y'all.
It don't take a crystal ball to know how some stories end. When someone keeps saying opinions like facts, the courts start listening. Southern Mutton don't predict nothing. We just watch and write it down. Don't need a crystal ball to see it coming back around. When you state it like a fact and never check it first. Southern Mutton, watch it close from the courthouse ground. True, stay patient while the paper getting worse. Same routine, new headline phone. Same bold claims that the record don't want. She speak real loud, no maybe, no seems. Turn opinions into facts like the courtroom clean. I ain't wishing nothing, I just seen the signs. When the words outrun proof, it's a matter of time. History repeat when you don't learn yet. Courts don't care what you meant, just what you said. When confidence louder than evidence be, that's when patterns start explaining things to me. Don't need a crystal ball to see it coming back around. When you speak like a verdict before the truth's found. Southern Mutton in the case, boots firm on the tile. We don't chase drama, we just watch the file, yeah. Country rap calm, I don't glow to grin. I just read the docket when it rolled back in. She called it truth, call it just how it is. But courts draw lines where the talking ends. I ain't psychic, I'm observing. Facts don't bend, cause a voice is urgent from testimony tone to the written page. Same outcome when the pattern don't change. Lies like speed, truth like distance. One burns fast, one keeps existing on. Lies like speed, truth like distance. One burns fast, one keeps existing. Don't need a crystal ball, don't need belief. When the law still runs on proof and receipts of the mud and watching through the courtroom glass, pointing out lies as they're saying it's facts. Yeah. This ain't prophecy, this ain't hate, just history watching itself repeat. When words get reckless, the courts get busy, and the truth always shows up right on time.